Airlines are banking on you never discovering this information. If you're 60 or older, you have access to 7 completely free airport rights that could save you hundreds of dollars per trip. But here's the part that makes this systematic theft even worse. You have to specifically ask for them because airlines will never volunteer this information. And why would they? Every free wheelchair assistance request, every priority boarding accommodation, every waived baggage fee cuts directly into their profit margins. They're desperately hoping you'll pay full price and never realize you had special privileges written into federal regulations. Hello everyone, this is Stella, and last month a 68-year-old woman named Patricia Reynolds from Phoenix paid $85 in baggage fees she didn't legally owe. Another senior waited 45 agonizing minutes in a security line when she could have walked straight through using rights she never knew existed, and a retired couple missed priority boarding. They were federally entitled to simply because no gate agent told them it was available. And what makes this even more infuriating is these aren't courtesies or favors. These are legal rights designed specifically for travelers over 60, yet buried so deep in policy documents that you'll never accidentally stumble upon them. Today I'm showing you exactly what to ask for, who to ask, the specific phrases that get an automatic yes, and the psychological tactics that make airline staff actually want to help you instead of brushing you off. What you're about to learn could completely transform how you fly forever. So pay close attention because missing even one of these rights could cost you hundreds on your next trip. The first buried right is free wheelchair assistance even if you don't technically need one. And here's what airlines deliberately don't tell you. Wheelchair assistance isn't exclusively for people who cannot walk. If you're 60 or older and have any mobility concerns whatsoever, tired legs, heavy bags, long terminal walks, or you just want to avoid airport chaos and stress, you qualify for completely free wheelchair assistance, and the airline industry keeps this strategically quiet because every wheelchair request costs them money. They have to pay staff, coordinate complex logistics, and prioritize your journey through the entire airport. 2 weeks ago at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, Mrs. Dorothy Hamilton, age 72, from Tampa, walked 2 full, exhausting miles through that massive terminal during Thanksgiving week. She had no idea she could have requested a free wheelchair service that would have transported her from check-in straight to her gate in under 10 minutes. By the time she finally reached her gate, she was sweating profusely. Her knees were throbbing painfully. She could barely stand to board the plane. And she spent the first hour of her flight to visit her grandchildren, recovering from complete exhaustion instead of enjoying the excitement of seeing them. Here's the beautiful legal part. Wheelchair assistance is federally mandated under the Air Carrier Access Act. Airlines cannot legally say no to your request. When you book your flight, simply request wheelchair assistance online. You can specifically request ambulatory assistance if you can walk, but need help with distances or bags. This magical service gets you a personal escort through security, often using faster expedited lines, priority boarding, before even first-class passengers, direct transportation to your gate, help with carry-on bags, and assistance all the way to your seat. The insider secret that saves even more stress is you can request this assistance for just one direction of your trip, flying somewhere for vacation, but feeling energetic for the return journey. Only request help outbound. It's completely your choice, and nobody questions it. And here's the exact phrase that works every time. I'm over 60, and I'd like to request wheelchair assistance from check-in to my gate. That specific wording triggers their system immediately. The second buried right is the TSA PreCheck senior exception with absolutely no application required. And TSA keeps this surprisingly quiet for obvious reasons. If you're 75 or older, you automatically qualify for modified, expedited security screening without ever applying for TSA PreCheck, no background check needed, no interview appointment, no $78 enrollment fee. You just get the benefits automatically. Last month at Denver International Airport, Mr. Vincent Torres, age 76, a retired military veteran, spent 20 humiliating minutes in secondary screening. They made him remove his shoes, which was extremely difficult because of his severe arthritis. They patted him down, while dozens of other passengers watched and whispered. They questioned him extensively about his medications, and he missed his connection to his daughter's wedding rehearsal in Portland. The entire traumatic experience was completely preventable because he didn't know to mention his age at the checkpoint. The TSA officer never asked, he never told, and disaster struck. Here's exactly how the 75-plus exception works. Passengers 75 and older can keep their shoes and light jackets on during security screening. You might still go through the standard metal detector, but you get many pre-check style conveniences without any hassle. And here's the part they really don't advertise anywhere. If the security line is extremely long and you're 75 or older, politely mention your age to any TSA officer. They often have discretionary authority to direct you to shorter expedited lines or provide additional assistance. The psychology behind this policy is TSA knows senior travelers statistically present lower security risk and move more slowly through standard screening procedures. It's actually more operationally efficient for them to streamline your process. They just don't publicize it widely because every passenger would suddenly claim to be 75. If they knew. The magic phrase is, "I'm 75 years old. I understand I qualify for modified screening procedures." Say it with calm confidence and watch the process change immediately. The third buried right is hidden senior airfare discounts that comparison websites never show. And here's the travel myth that's costing seniors thousands annually. Booking online through sites like Expedia guarantees the lowest fare. It absolutely doesn't, especially if you're over 60. When you search through comparison websites, they only display standard published fares because their systems don't know your age, so they automatically assume you're paying full price like everyone else. 3 weeks ago, Mrs. Barbara Martinez, a retired teacher from Boston, age 67, booked a flight to Miami through a comparison site for $340. 2 days later, her tech-savvy daughter called American Airlines directly, mentioned her mother was 67, and got the exact same flight on the exact same date for $287. That's $53 saved with one phone call asking one simple question. And this pattern repeats across millions of senior bookings every single year. Most major airlines still offer senior discounts ranging from 10% to significant amounts off base fares. But they've buried these discounts deeper than buried treasure. Why would they do this? Because they'd much rather you pay full price and only offer discounts when directly asked by informed travelers. American Airlines offers 10% off select fares for passengers 65 and older, but you must call their senior desk directly at 1-800-43-37300. Online booking systems will never show these hidden prices. United Airlines provides senior discounts on specific routes, but they're not published online anywhere. You must call 1-800-2416522 and specifically ask about senior fares using that exact terminology. Southwest Airlines has no official senior discount policy, but their wanna-get-away fares often beat senior rates anyway. The insider trick is book Tuesday afternoons when they release new inventory batches. Here's the phone call hack that unlocks everything. When calling, don't just passively ask, "Do you have senior discounts available?" Instead, say with confidence, "I'd like to book a senior fare for passengers 65 and older." That specific assertive language triggers their computer system to automatically check for unpublished restricted rates that don't appear anywhere online, and suddenly prices drop significantly. The fourth buried right is priority boarding access you never knew you legally had. Airlines have quietly implemented senior priority boarding policies, but they don't announce them publicly because it would create longer priority boarding lines and upset their premium-paying passengers who specifically paid extra for early boarding privileges. Most major airlines allow passengers with mobility needs, including seniors who find boarding stressful or physically challenging, to request priority boarding at the gate. Last week at Orlando International Airport, Mr. and Mrs. Robert Sullivan, both age 74, flying Southwest to visit their son in San Diego, arrived at the gate early and sat down assuming they'd board with their assigned group. They watched Group A board, then Group B, then Group C. By the time their group was finally called overhead, bins were completely packed full. They were forced to gate-check their carry-ons, which contained important medications and their grandson's birthday gifts. They waited 40 frustrating minutes at baggage claim while their son waited anxiously at arrivals. They had absolutely no idea they could have requested early boarding and walked on with the very first group. You don't need any medical documentation to request this. Just mention at check-in or directly to gate agents that you need extra time boarding due to age-related mobility concerns. The magic phrase that works is, "I'd like to request pre-boarding assistance due to mobility needs." Don't say you need a wheelchair if you don't actually need one. Just say mobility assistance. This often gets you on the plane right after families with small children, before the chaos of general boarding begins. The fifth buried right is free seat upgrades when you know exactly how to ask. Airlines train their staff to automatically say, "We're completely full," when passengers ask about upgrades, but senior travelers have special leverage that most people never use strategically. At check-in mention, if you have any discomfort sitting in standard economy seats due to age-related issues, longer legs needing stretching room, back support concerns, easier aisle access for frequent bathroom visits. Don't exaggerate or lie, just be completely honest about legitimate comfort needs. 2 weeks ago at Chicago O'Hare, Mrs. Helen Rodriguez, age 68, was originally assigned a middle seat in row 37, 30 minutes before boarding. She approached the gate agent calmly and said, "I'm a senior traveler. Are there any seat upgrades available that might be more comfortable for my back?" The gate agent smiled, typed for about 10 seconds, and moved her to an aisle seat in row 12 with extra legroom at absolutely no charge. Helen saved at least $89 and arrived in Seattle comfortable instead of in pain. Gate agents have significant discretionary authority to move seniors to seats with extra legroom, aisle seats for easier access, or even premium economy if available, especially if you previously checked in for wheelchair assistance or requested priority boarding. The key is asking politely and mentioning legitimate comfort needs, rather than demanding upgrades like an entitled passenger. And here's the psychology hack. Gate agents deal with demanding rude passengers constantly all day. A polite senior mentioning reasonable comfort concerns often gets accommodated because you're being genuinely reasonable and not entitled. The sixth buried right is the baggage fee loophole. They desperately hope you'll never find. Airlines make billions annually from baggage fees, but seniors have multiple ways to avoid them that most travelers never discover. If you're a senior and military veteran, most airlines waive baggage fees entirely. You need to add your veteran status to your frequent flyer profile or mention it prominently when booking. This alone saves hundreds per year for qualifying seniors. Medical equipment including any medical devices, CPAP machines, medication cooling bags, mobility aids, all fly completely free regardless of your regular baggage allowance. And the definition of medical equipment is much broader than most people realize. Last month, Mr. James Peterson, age 70, flying to Boston with his CPAP machine and insulin cooler. The gate agent tried to charge him $85, claiming his bags were oversized. James said 5 simple words. "These are medically necessary items." The agent paused, checked the computer system, and immediately waved him through with 0 fees charged. The insider secret is if you're traveling with medical supplies, prescription medications requiring temperature control, or any health-related items, mention this specifically when checking bags. Many airlines have policies to waive fees for medical necessity items, but they never advertise this publicly. Some airlines even extend senior companion benefits that include free checked bags for your travel partner, even if they're not senior age. But again, you must ask specifically. The seventh and most valuable buried right is airport lounge access, even in economy class, and this is the perk airlines guard most jealously, because lounge access represents their premium product tier. Senior travelers often qualify for complimentary lounge access in ways that have absolutely nothing to do with your ticket class or credit card benefits. If you need a quiet place to rest, take important medications, or manage health conditions, many airport lounges provide complimentary access for seniors with medical needs. You simply need to explain your situation calmly to lounge staff. Last week during a 6-hour delay at Atlanta, Mrs. Dorothy Washington, age 73, approached the gate agent and said, "I'm a senior traveler with medical considerations. I'm wondering about accommodation options during this long delay." The agent handed her a complimentary day pass to the Delta Sky Club worth $59. Senior passengers affected by flight delays or cancellations often receive lounge vouchers, meal vouchers, or accommodation assistance before other passengers. Especially if you mention any mobility or medical considerations, Senior military veterans often get free lounge access through programs they don't even know exist. Check with airline customer service about veteran benefits beyond just baggage fees. The key phrase is, "I'm a senior traveler with medical considerations, and I'm wondering about accommodation options during my layover." Don't demand access, simply ask about available options. You'll be genuinely surprised how often they find solutions. Now here's your master script for claiming all these rights. The words that unlock everything. Don't be demanding or entitled. Be informative and specific. Say this exact phrase. "Hi, I'm 65 and traveling today. I wanted to check what accommodations might be available for senior passengers with mobility considerations." This single sentence opens the door to wheelchair assistance, priority boarding, seat accommodations, and customer service solutions. The magic is being specific about your age and using the words accommodations and considerations rather than demanding specific perks. Remember this critical psychology. Airline staff deal with entitled, demanding passengers constantly all day, every day. Seniors who are polite, specific, and informed get dramatically better treatment than those who demand or complain loudly. Here's your complete action plan before your next flight. At booking, request wheelchair assistance. If you have any mobility concerns whatsoever, 24 hours before departure, call the airline directly to ask about senior fares and available accommodations. At check-in, mention your age clearly and ask about available senior accommodations. At the gate, politely request priority boarding. If you need it, if delays occur, ask specifically about senior passenger accommodation options. Don't try to claim perks you genuinely don't need, but absolutely claim every single one that improves your travel experience. These benefits exist specifically for you. They're written into federal regulations and airline policies. The airlines just desperately hope you won't ask because every accommodation costs them money. But now you know exactly what to say, exactly who to ask, and exactly how to claim what's legally yours. If this information opened your eyes to rights you never knew existed, hit that like button right now, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss next week's video about the 10 in-flight mistakes seniors make that can ruin your health. I'll show you the one seating position that prevents deep vein thrombosis, the hydration rule that prevents blood clots, and the drink flight attendants serve that's making seniors sick. Share this with your parents, grandparents, any senior traveler who deserves to know these buried rights before their next trip. Airlines profit every time you stay uninformed, but now you're prepared. Now you know exactly what to claim. Travel confidently, travel informed. This is Stella.